Good evening, and welcome to the conversation tonight with Pastor Strike. And I trust that all is well with you. And thank you, family, for tuning in. Those of you who are tuning in on Bold Moves Radio YouTube, Bold Moves Radio Facebook page, and those of you who are tuning on Bold Moves Radio Direct. Thank you so very much for tuning in tonight on the conversation. We have a great and a wonderful guest, and we are going to have a great time. I must be honest with you. And tonight, family, as I welcome you on the conversation, I would love to apologize for those who expected Mr. Mandla Soko. No, we thought it wise, more especially because of the project that our sister is embarking on tomorrow. So we thought it wise to make sure that we have this special guest. And our special guest, she hails from Poledi, Hamagodi, and she graduated at Vaal University of Technology as an internal auditor and worked at KPMG, worked also at the Department of Finance in Joburg, and now she's working for the SAP as head office in Pretoria. And of course, she is Mrs. Universe Africa 2022 finalist.
Oh, yes.
And that is none other but Poledi Matjutla.
Thank you.
And one thing that really excites me about her is she has a foundation a foundation that she calls King's Young Men Enrichment Programs. And this is where I met her, and I thought, you know what, this is a great woman who is reaching out. It's easy today. Everybody complains about gender-based violence and all that. And many a time we also even try to do crisis management, here and there. We slogan here, we politic about it, we march, placards and everything. But it's like it's not helping a thing. But she went to the grassroots and making sure that she reaches out to young men, and build young men of character, young men of purpose, young men of vision. And I got so excited that I thought this is a woman to rally around and make sure that her dream comes true, because her dream, I believe, is an African dream, not only South African dream, but an African dream to have very responsible men. And these men will not come just like that. These men will come because efforts are being made, and people of vision, people of character, people who says, I want to make a difference, are those people who do that. And tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor and the privilege of welcoming to the conversation none other but Mrs. Universe Africa 2022 finalist, and that is none other but Poledi Matjutla. Welcome, my dear sister, and good evening.
Good evening. Good evening to the listeners. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for welcoming me. I am so excited to be here. Thank you.
I'm excited too. I'm very excited, most especially because, having met you, speaking to young men, I was so touched because, it's easy for us to complain. And, like just this week, we have had a horrible murder of a young woman, and these things continue and continue. And just to talk about statistics, just to call, in fact, to be angry, because what happens, it angers the nation. But I realized that even when we have a threat of an invading forces or armies, we don't take angry people to the battlefield. Because they are going to die. They will be killed in the battlefield. But we take strategists, we take people who are skilled, who are good in the art of war, to go there and really represent the nation. That is why when you talk of the South African Defense Force, we're not just talking about angry people, but we're talking of very sober people who want to make sure that they protect the nation.
Absolutely.
So even this pandemic of gender-based violence, of domestic violence, I trust that it does not just take angry people who will call men names, but it takes warriors, it takes soldiers, it takes strategists who are also futuristic, who are generational, who looks into the future, not just into what is happening now. Because I want to believe what we are confronted with now are the fruits of something that we sow sometimes back.
Absolutely.
We might not be the ones who sowed this seed, but some generations, they brought us where we are.
Yeah.
My wonderful guest, let's talk about Mrs. Africa, Mrs. Universe Africa 2022 finalist, and that is Poledi Matjutla.
Yeah.
Who are we talking about?
Okay, Poledi Matjutla, like you've mentioned, that she's from Magodu, and she's got this desire or this heart of addressing or assisting or encouraging these young boys to actually know who they are, because when you speak about warriors, it has to start with us as mothers, that it is our responsibility. Because when I looked at my life, I looked at that I've got a boy child at home. I'm a mother of two. I've got a son, that it is my responsibility to make sure that I raise a leader. It is my responsibility to make sure that I raise a king. And how do I raise a king? I need to direct the king to its origin, to its source. And I saw the need that with this gender-based violence, that I don't have a problem that we are trying to address it, but I felt that we are addressing the symptoms. We need to go back to the roots, into how we grew up as families, because there are certain issues that are not addressed, that are not resolved. And as a result, this boy child grow up, or when he comes and marry this woman, or this woman who's empowered. And the next thing, he's got issues that were not resolved. He's carrying things from being a child, and you know how the society is, that it's more like we are giving more of young girls, or take a girl child to work. It's important that as we do that to young girls, we should equally do that to boys, because we don't want to raise angry children. And the same child that is going to marry this empowered woman, he's got issues that were not resolved from long time ago. This is also one of the reasons why there is so much, hence they call it pandemic. We are already in the pandemic of this gender-based violence. So this is something that is very close to my heart, that I sat down, I did my own research alone. I said, you know what? It's important as parents, into how we should raise our children. And even as teachers, into how to encourage our children to be better people within the families, within the communities, and within the nations at large. So for me, this is one of the most critical program that I have, that I'm so passionate about, that I want to see. I may not empower everyone in the world, but I would like to make a difference from our homes, from where I come from our villages, to say that we can be a better society. We can be better leaders. If I don't raise this young man or I don't equip this young man, what kind of a leader am I looking into? So I saw it important that let me just go out there and work with people that have got the similar vision that I have, to say that we can make a difference. Because I'm reminded of last time this program we started, when I remember when you, Moruti, when you were busy encouraging this young boy, I could see one of the boys, I remember he cried so bad. You could see that there's so much of baggages that he has, and he wants to talk, and he needs some encouragement, or he needs to he doesn't know where to go. You know, these are the type of initiatives that I feel that it's important that if we can just spread, not only me, if we could just spread all over the Limpopo, all over the country, to make sure that we make a difference into raising our boy child, so that they can be a better leader, so that they can have happy marriages too, when they're going to marry that girl child, so that they can know exactly who they are, why are they born, and why God has purposed them to be on earth, so that they can understand why God speaks about love your wife as you love yourself. Your responsibility as a man is to love your wife similar way as you love yourself. So until you understand that concept, it has to start from the root.
Very powerful, my wonderful guest. And my wonderful viewers and listeners, we are on the conversation with Mrs. Universe Africa 2022 finalist. That's Poledi Matjutla. And I must be honest, family, she raises something very, very critical, very much important. Yes, the concentration has been to the girl child, but trying to empower the girl child is like going to the Kruger National Park and say to the antelopes, please, you must run faster when the lions are coming against you. Not addressing the lion to say, hey, look, if you keep on killing these antelopes, before you know what is happening, you are going to die of hunger. So you are just shooting your own foot. And I think that's very, very critical. And one thing that encourages me, we always talk of Proverbs 31 woman. But have you realized that that Proverbs 31, a mother to King Lemuel is advising her son, building her son. We always talk of this woman, but she's talking and she's advising her son, her boy, so that he is not careless in his decisions. He's not careless in his conduct. And I must be honest, because one other thing, my guest, one other thing that becomes the narrative of many, especially when we see gender-based violence and all sorts of things, people carelessly say, and while I differ strongly with that, because I've seen children with both parents really getting out of hand. I've seen even pastors' children getting out of hand. I've had an opportunity in my life to profile, I don't know how many people, a lot of people. You talk of people in academia, politics, business. I realized that great men and great women were raised by single parents.
Absolutely.
And bringing this, I'm trying to say to somebody, Mrs. Universe Africa, look, you are a woman. You cannot raise a boy child. But the Proverbs 31 woman that we're talking about, the words that are of advice there, these are words of a mother talking to her son, who was supposed to be a king. And that is why I just believe that you've got something precious, something wonderful. But I would love to ask, how did it start? How did it start? And, how was this born? Because honestly, many people dream, many people think, many people have great ideas, but taking off is another thing. Reaching out is another thing. Can you tell us a little bit on how it started? I love it when you say this should be not only a Lepompian thing, but it should be a national thing.
Absolutely.
I'll go on to say it should be a universe thing. Africa need that. We really need that. And how did it start? How did you take off with this project? And how did you even conceive it? Can you share with us that?
Okay. Thank you, Maruti. I had always had this in my heart, and I think also with the experience that I had with my previous marriage, you could see that the problem is not what was currently happening at that time, but you could see this start from when you check the history and the background of how things have happened in my ex-husband's life. They resulted into what has turned out to the way it was. And when they introduced the Mrs. Universe Africa, and they spoke about this is a platform of women who are resilient, women who are strong, women who have been through so much, and women who would stand in the test of time and be testimonies to say that in the midst of all all things that they've been through, they can still do it, or they can still fetch their lives. I saw it as an opportunity that for me, that, you know what, let me give birth to what I've been pregnant with for all this time, for all these years, to say that with this pandemic that has been happening, not only with the previous marriage that I've been into, but with what has been happening in the whole country. You look at, when you do your research, when you check the background of why people have killed their their wives or their partners, when you check the cycle of that person's behavior, you see that this something that starts from home. It starts from the background, how they grew up in most of the cases. Yes, we don't dispute that possibly could be maybe ghostwriting, like peer pressure and so forth. But in most of the cases, you find that this is the background has not been as smooth as it's supposed to be. We're not saying it's supposed to be smooth, but we're saying that these issues were not dealt with as he was growing up, or this type of a person. So this platform of Mrs. Universe has given me that opportunity to can give birth and to coin this King's Young Men program, that I want to establish this program to empower these young boys together with, I will even love it if it's all women that we join together, because I believe in most of us as mothers, we do have a boy child at home, and we want our boy child to be kings tomorrow. We want our boy child to be leaders tomorrow. So if you can just join together and say, it's not about me going to a different school or go to it, even in our homes, we take that role to say that let's empower our young boys in all spheres of life. So I saw it as an opportunity, as a platform for me to say, you know what, this has given me a chance to can just make sure that to spread my wings and to give birth to what I've been pregnant with for all these years.
Wow.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to The Conversation with Pastor Strike. My guest is Mrs. Universe Africa 2022 finalist, and that's Poledi Matjutla.
Thank you.
And you're listening to Bold Moves Radio, and I trust that you are having a great time. And I would love to take this time also and appreciate you, my viewers. I see a lot of you here, and I would also encourage you in your comments, your questions, hosting Mrs. Universe Africa 2022 finalist.
Yes.
It's an honor, because we'll talk about this pageant and zoom into it. But I also already see that it's a pageant with purpose, with vision.
Absolutely.
And also it's also an encouragement to mothers, you know, because this is Mrs. It's not Mrs. Mrs. You know,
Mrs.
And it's such a wonderful thing. And let's just take this commercial break, and when we come back, we are going to zoom in and even see some of you and your comments. Of course, you're listening to Bold Moves Radio, and thank you for watching and listening.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is.
Streaming 24/7.
24/7.
Bold Moves Radio.
Afrika, nakupenda sana. Oh, Afrika, nakupenda sana.
Welcome back, friends. Welcome, and thank you so very much. I see a lot of you and I appreciate you. I see Rulani Mashaba, my dear brother, thank you. Dikele Dinkele Moka, thank you. Pastor Joylin, thank you. Shumani Miss Nubrawuzi, Rikobatanganeza, Chris Mkabele, thank you. Constance Chabalala Mankoni, thank you. And then I see Elana, thank you. Meshvina, thank you so very much. Babota Teboho, Matt, thank you so very much. Mavis Rulani, thank you. And I see Vledani Murawuzi, Rikobatanganeza, thank you for being here. Siabonga Dube, thank you. And Ateden Sibabi, thank you so very much. These our political leaders, thank you. Sibongi Lenkosi, we appreciate you. And then Virginia Manganyi, Mantakan Mabasa, Tembani Mchongo, thank you. And who's this one? Gladys Mapeto, thank you. Kensani Shingange, Kokwan John Mawila, Dr. Rexon Manganyi, and then Steve Chauke. Thank you, Sylvia Nkuna Muraba. Thank you, my dear sister. And then Gabriel Samuel, thank you so so very much. Dr. Mabila Matebula, thank you so very much. And I know that your comments and your contribution are very, very scientific and very important. Thank you so very much, Liera. And then Tibu and Netengwe, thank you so very much. We are on the conversation with Pastor Strike. My guest is Mrs. Universe Africa 2022 finalist, and that's Poledi Matjutla.
Yeah.
She's also a founder of an NGO, a program that is reaching out to young boys. And I must be honest with you, I was once, in fact, not once, even tomorrow, I am invited to go and speak to young men. She's doing a great, great job. And I must say, men are not trash, but they are the product of what we do or what we did not do. And I always say, a generation owes the next generation. Our parents were illiterate, but they knew that the future will demand more than today.
Absolutely.
And they took us to school.
Absolutely.
So what is it that we're doing for the next generation? And then Mrs. Universe Africa finalist 2022, Poledi Matjutla, she's doing something that is a challenge to us all, men and women alike, fathers and mothers alike. And then let us just zoom in some of the challenges, because when you start something, it's not always flowing downstream. There will be challenges, there will be obstacles. But what are some of the things that you're confronted with when you took off with this program?
Okay. Firstly, I believe charity begins at home.
Yes.
I'm currently situated in Sinchiron, Pretoria, and I felt that it's very important that I need to go back home. To my home. Like I'm original from Magodu, but when I say home, I mean Limpopo, Polokwane, and I need to start that program. So challenge has been, say, to travel, to take leaves and all of those things. But I said, you know what, as long as this is what you're pregnant with, come what may, you'll be able to go to make sure that it comes to pass. You give birth to it. So because you have to go to work at the same time, you have to do this type of programs. At the same time, you have to do other activities within Mrs. Universe and so forth. It's been more of a challenge, but it's just still at the beginning. And at the same time, to source even the support from different departments. I'm grateful that this time the different departments are coming on board, or different stakeholders are coming on board with this initiative. They're actually excited about it. I've spoken to different stakeholders, like your CGE commissioners and all of that. They're so excited about this initiative. To say, I remember what he said, Wiseni Bota, he said something like, it's not easy for a woman to come in this type of initiative of where she decided to take a journey in terms of King's Young Men program, like encouraging a boy child. So mostly it's we have programs like Khulume Ndoda and men's program or men's conferences and so forth. So it's only a minority of women who decided to say that let's take this journey. So I happened to be one of them. He was very much impressed about it, and that's been something that is still very new. Like I said, I'm very excited that different stakeholders are coming on board. And I'm so excited that even the future is bright with regard to this program.
Very powerful. And right on this platform tonight, what would you love to say first to women? Because yes, it's true that the initiative, you might be one of the few women that are taking this initiative, but I must be honest, I sit here, I was born of a woman. I was raised by my mom, In fact, when my mom passed on, I realized that a fraction of me is gone. There is that attachment, there is that honor, there's that respect of your own mother. To an extent that, it's 2008, she passed on, but can you imagine that being so matured? As I drive around sometimes, if I see an old lady of my mom's stature looking that way, when I pass with the car, I turn and look at her, because something says, is it not mom? And I think it's important for us to understand that no matter how muscular we might be as men, but we're born of a woman.
Absolutely.
In fact, the first teacher that taught us how to eat, how to talk, you know, is a mother. I always say to mothers when I encourage them, especially on parental involvement in schools, you'll hear mother says, but I tell mothers who remember, yeah. Or motho wa mathomo mo ruta ke lena le morutile o bolela o ja o tlhapa, all these things. And you know, I must say mothers are great teachers, because even when a child mumbles and trying to say the first word, you've got a way of even discerning what the child is saying. And encourage them when they start walking just one step. You encourage them. I'm yet to see a mother whose son or daughter tries to walk and fall, and they say, sit down. That's the mind when I do fast. No, they encourage. They always have that thing. And I believe that if our mothers also would rise up, even though they're not rising up because it's sweet, because most of the mothers are victims of the very same violence we are talking about, you know, and because of that, a mother rises up with bleeding. She rises up with scars. She rises up with tears. But I must say, dear mother, let's love the future. Let's do something. And I must say again, even as I would love for you to talk to us as fathers, you know, and as men, because all these horrible things and killings that we see are not happening because of some aliens or creatures out of this world, but it's men, it's children that were born, grew up, you know, who tend to be something else, you know. What can you say to us as men, more especially looking at dealing with a boy child? We you know, do we want to perpetuate this evil? Do you want to see it continue? Do you want to slogan here? Do you want to say not in my name, and really fold our hands and say not in my name? I'm not going to be part of this. Or cover up issues, because that's one other thing that maybe it's our problem, covering up issues, not opening up, saying if I open up, it's a sign of weakness, you know, tigers never cry and all these things. What would be your message to us as men tonight?
Okay, I would start from young boys on that note to say that it's important for the boys or young boys to know how important they are and how valuable they are before God. And if they can decide to go back to their father and allow themselves to be led by God and go back to their positions. Like I'm reminded of the story of Adam and Eve, when God said, Adam, where are you? And Adam shifted from the position where God has placed him. And if we can just teach our children in terms of trusting back to their source, know who their source is and their purpose in life at large, in terms of even respecting human being, what God has created, which is a woman, and the woman that comes from a man, the rib, which is a man. So if they can have those foundational teachings from the beginning, I'm sure that the issues that we are encountering now as men, because they will know who their father is, and they would want to be led by their father. I always believe that, according to the way it speaks, that Christ is the head, of the man, and the man
is the head of his family.
Absolutely, yes. So if a man is led by Christ, I believe that will be a better society.
So if I'm not led by Christ, so I'm a headless head.
No, what I mean is you can.
Because in essence, I think it says, as a man, I should not be a loose cannon.
Yes.
I should be under authority.
Absolutely. I was just coming to that.
Even if I'm I'm not a Christ-believing man.
Yeah.
But I must have mentors.
Yes.
I must have men that I'm looking up to, men who speaks, because otherwise, we end up being everything. Nobody tells me anything.
Yes.
I appreciate men that at least are attached to churches and they have mentors.
Yeah.
Because, your mentor will really take you to task.
Absolutely.
Your pastor will take you to task. I always say to men, even older men than me, I'll tell them, you are my son.
Yeah.
And you must listen to me.
Yeah.
I must rebuke you. I must correct you.
Yes.
And I respect such men who submit themselves under authority so that you are led. I don't know it all. As I speak here, I've got mentors. I've got people that are older, people that are more experienced, people that have done more and have done good things, and who speaks over my life.
Yeah.
So that at least I am guided. I know I'm answerable to somebody. So I think you're very right. Since God said, Adam, where are you? It's like many of us were still hiding.
Yeah, absolutely. I think even to add on that, when you speak about being led by somebody, it's important even in the society at large to say that it's you cannot work in silos. You cannot work alone. And it this stigma of saying that like a man is not supposed to cry when he's encountering situations in life. So we can still speak man to man. I will always ask men, guys, do you actually talk when you're amongst each other? Like literally deep things or something. Mostly they say they hardly do when they talk about social life and so forth. But it's important to emphasize, to say that they're humans, they've got feelings too. It's important that they need to talk with whatever that they might be having a challenge upon. You will never know that what the solution you get by just talking to a stranger, and that stranger give you a solution. Say maybe you don't even have a mentor, say maybe you don't even have anyone to look up to, but talking to a stranger, you will never know that person, that God can bring that person into your life and he speaks some life into whatever the situation that it may be. So men are the same as women. We all have feelings and we are all the same before the eyes of God.
Very true, very true. In fact, I think that we cannot overemphasize for men to be able to open up, to speak up. You know, somebody was asking me, why are many men in the streets, like in Polokwane, there will be corners where we know men will be sleeping there, you know, seeking for jobs, sleeping there, some never going back home again. And I said, one of the reasons is, it might be little things, but one of the reasons is that to me, while I'm facing this challenge, it's a mountain.
Yeah.
So I need somebody else who will be able to look at it, who will be able to counsel. And that is why, again, the issue of seeking for counsel, professional help, you know, psychiatrists, psychologists, psychologist or psychiatrist, but the truth is that we need to take care of our mental health. Some of the violence that we experience is like an automatic stop. You know, shaking, boiling and shaking because so we need to be able to open up and vent and be able, because one other thing that is very scary, my guest, as fathers, as carriers of the seed, we also are the releasers of this seed. What we do impacts on our children. In fact, to the fourth generation.
So true.
And what scares me, it's just on a lighter note, you know, in the early 80s, I had dreadlocks. And late 80s, I got married. I think it was 89, 87, around there. I got married, and my firstborn, I think it was, whether it was 87 or around there.
Okay.
But, my firstborn, of course, went to be with the Lord. Now, my secondborn, they grow up. These boys have never seen a picture of me having dreadlocks. But you know what? They had dreadlocks. And I looked at the dress. I said, what is happening here? And, you know, as a father and as a pastor, sometimes we too stereotype, you know, want to deal with the outside instead of dealing with the person. But I quickly called myself to order. I said, this, what I'm seeing is exactly who I am and who I was. Today, I'm born again, or I cut my hair, but these guys are just doing exactly what I was. And they are showing it forth. And I must be able to bear with myself. And then, okay, my firstborn had dreads and he cut them, looked very nice, young gentleman. I was so excited together with my wife. But guess what? The secondborn had afro, big hair. And the next thing, the secondborn's got dreads. And guess what? The brother gave him his dreads and then extended them. And now both of them, they've got dreads. And I'm left with my last born who's, you know, I don't know where he's going. But you know what? Sometimes, and these are the things that sometimes as men, we don't have the patience with. But these children, they take from us. Now, my fear and my cry and my prayer, they may be in secret, but they are not in secret. In fact, they are generational. They will impact, they'll affect my children to the fourth generation. And this is so scary. My wonderful guest. Now I want us to zoom into the pageant. I want us to zoom into this pageant because honestly, like Dr. Mabila says something here, let me hear. Like I said, you know, this man who comes with his scientific contributions. He said something here, let me see. Okay, with the question, no, this one, it's not for you. It's not in your... Okay, he says, beauty was something that was frowned upon within the Christian circles. How can we educate the nation and that beauty is godly? In fact, we would say the church, that beauty is godly, you know, because and criticize everything, and you know that's said. But here he says, it is said that beauty without brains is a combination of tragedy, but with your guest, it is beauty with brains, and beauty with brains equals power. That's very true. That's very true. That is why you're impacting today our society. And I remember, because I started a pageant at church, you know, I've got Miss Mana and Mr. Mana Kid. And I'm happy that out of that we produced some international titles.
Wonderful,
you know? But, you know, the church will say, no, but let's talk a little bit about that, because that's one other thing. You're a role model, you're a mother, you're a Christian, a born-again child of God, and you are a pageant. Let's talk a little bit about that and just put our children at ease. Because just because Strike is doing it even in church, it does not mean the church in general is embracing it. What can you say to the Christian body?
Okay. I would say, being a mother, being a born-again Christian, I'm always saying to myself, what is it that God has proposed me to be? And I believe that when God created me, he put part of his potential in me. He's omnipotent. And when I say part of his potential in me, I've got so much of potential that I can do on earth. And this was one of them, that I need to impact the nations at large, or I need to impact the communities at large. And being a born-again Christian, you're talking about the beauty. Beauty, like the gentleman has explained, for me, it's not about the beauty on how you look physically. It's about your beauty from within. And it's about what you give outside. And when he speaks about beauty is godly, it's your actions, who you are, your humanity, your humility to people. And when when God says that we are all one before him, and how you treat other people, we are all the same, So for me, with this pageantry, I said to myself that, what is it that I want to do? What is it that, what purpose can I, what is it that God wants me to do to get in my life? And I said to myself, I said to myself, Mudimu, here I am, and show me what I can do. And I need to impact. I always had the desire to have a talk show, for example. I always had the desire where I need to speak about the goodness of the Lord. And I said, where do I begin? Remember, you don't just wake up and say, okay, fine, this is what I want to do, and I'm going for it. There are different channels that possibly that you have to go through. And this was one of the channels. This was one of the platform, because when one thing that attracted me to the pageant itself was it speaks about the essence of African women. And when I looked at my life, and when I looked at the purpose that was revealed to me way before the pageant, to impact the community, I said, this is a good platform for me to unleash that potential that God has given me within me. So this was a very good platform for me to say, even beyond the pageant, I still want to continue. It does not end with the pageant. I'm continue with the programs all over, to say, as long as I can make a difference in someone's life, for me, that's a fulfillment. It's something that is all that I've always been passionate about from a long time ago, that I need to make a difference into the community. I need, for me, it's and it's not about my power, it's not about my strength, and it's all because of God that I said, Mudimu, I want to be a vessel. Tell me what do you want me to do, and I will do it. And this platform was one of them, to say that if Mudimu, I have to go through this platform of Mrs. Universe Africa, I'm excited about it. And for me, it's even effortless, because it's something that I'm passionate about. I don't have to stress, like you asked me earlier about what were the challenges in terms of when you started these programs and so forth. As much as challenges were there, but in my heart, in my spirit, I was just filled with so much of joy, because this is something that I love. The challenges was, okay, this can be sorted out. This is good, because it's something that is in me. I'm so much pregnant with it. Like come what may, forward I go. So this was just an opportunity for me to say, or a platform to say that, to give birth to what I've been pregnant with.
Very powerful, very powerful. In fact, while you're saying that, it also says this pageantry gives you an opportunity to be an ambassador, because it's an honor, it's a title that opens doors. In fact, it opens doors, and then you manifest who you are. You manifest what you carry, and which is a powerful thing, because in some places you'll have to explain a lot before you are welcome. But because of the title, then the title opens doors, and then you walk in, and it's not only beauty that walks in, but it's beauty with purpose, with vision, and impacting life and touching life. That's powerful. I love what Dr. Chris Wabalo is saying. He says, since we know our original selves, we should strive to have our children to be our better versions. Very true.
Absolutely.
Most especially when it comes to, when you look at your children and see some of the traits of your weaknesses, and then that is a project, but that must be done with grace, so that one is not breaking and destroying and trying to uproot, like Jesus says about the tares and the seed. He says, don't pull out the tares. You might destroy even the good seed. Let it grow together. That is, have a strategy to take out the tares at the right time, not just destroying everything. So I think you're very right, Doc, and we receive that, and we must make efforts to do exactly that. And then Kokwan John Mawila says, be blessed, sister. I am happy you are trusting God on your success. Wow. Wishing you all the best. Thank you so very much, Mama. We really appreciate. Yes, let's zoom into the pageant again, and what does it take? You have come up to a finalist. What does it take? What has the journey been? and what exactly do they expect, starting entry and all that? Because I want to believe some of my dear mothers are saying, wow, is it possible?
Yeah.
Some it has been their childhood dreams, but the dream was almost dying.
Okay.
But this comes with a very good example of saying, this is beauty with purpose.
Absolutely.
This is legendary with purpose. What has the journey been like?
Okay, maybe let me start by talking the difference with the Mrs. Universe Africa and Mrs. Universe South Africa, how it differs.
Yes.
So the Mrs. Universe Africa, it's where it speaks about the married, it speaks about the divorced, it speaks about, it allows women who are divorced, and it allows women who are widowed. And whereas the difference with the other one is only for married people, particularly. So the beauty about
Mrs. South Africa.
Yes. And the beauty about Mrs. Universe Africa, it's a continent.
Yes.
And the other one is particularly South Africa.
Yes.
And what I love about this pageant, it speaks about the essence of African women, what it stands for. You're speaking about to where we, where it started to where it is. What I love about it, it emphasizes the importance of giving back to the community.
Oh, yes.
And it's emphasized, like I said earlier, the essence of African with the women with resilient spirits. And it speaks about strong women who have went through life. It's not talking about women with those particular body, for example. It's not talking about particular body. I mean, like, we know pageants in those times say that you need to be in a particular body and in a certain way. We have to look tall. You have to be tall. You can see that I'm very short. Yes. So it's different from the normal Miss from age between 18 and 35 is different from that. And this one caters from 25 to 50, somewhere there. Yes, the focus is not about your outlook. The focus is about what you're pregnant with, like we spoke earlier. And the focus is what you can give back to, and what you can make a difference in the society as a whole. And like, for example, 2 weeks ago, we went to some charity to say that it's not about how you look on the Instagram. It's not about how you post on this. It's about, we want to see that change. We want to see someone's life changed through this journey. So that is basically when you talk about the essence of African woman, that woman who carries a child even when life is tough, who walks with the banabahai, it's talking about those type of women to say that this is where we come from, this is who we are, and this is what we can still do, and regardless of where we come from. And in terms of the criteria, from the beginning, you do your applications, for example, like they advertise on media, you do your applications, and there's certain criteria that you need to be scanned, if I can put it that way. You need to be scanned to say, okay, fine, you're married, you're not married, and okay, what experience, whether you have experience or not. And like I said, even if in experience, I'm talking about you've been a model or not, or have you been into pageantry world or not. And like I said, it does not matter, because we do have beautiful women who just started to this pageant now. They've never done any pageantry world before. And they saw this the same vision as I saw it, to say that they want to impact the communities in different ways. And then they give you certain tasks to do, and you have to pass them. And part of them was also charity works, so that what you give and how impactful it can be, And there's absolutely nothing wrong to say, maybe to give water where there's no water, to give food where there's no food. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. But we want to give food and still give knowledge, and we and impact them with something that they will be able to stand by themselves. We need to empower them. Like, for example, the charity that I was talking about last time, that 2 weeks ago, that we went to say that we need to do some gardening, to say that we cannot just always come and give them the veggies or the joy and everything. They need something sustainable, to say that even when we are not there, they can still be able to stand and be better people in the communities.
Wow, that's beautiful. And let's talk about, you came as far as the finalist. Yeah. What is happening? Are they voting, or is it merit according to the projects that one embarks on?
Okay.
How's the process?
So basically, yes, it's you're being judged according to the type of project that you have, that you've done, and again, it's about the votings that you got, and but most importantly, that gives you more points. I must put it that way. Is the type of work that you do, and I became the semi-finalist, and around February, remember when I was with you. So now we are on the final round, where I managed, through the grace of God, to be on the finals, where this is about crowning. That is on the top 20. It started from over 100 women all over the continent. Then they categorize them, they serve them accordingly with the different criteria. Like I said, mainly being the charities and the voting. Of course, yes, voting, they really play a role. But like I said, what the Miss Universe stands for, it's what they're looking at.
Yes.
So looking at the type of project that you know, like 2 days ago, they even sent a message to say that we need different type of projects so that we'll know that we will impact even further. Yes. So those are the things that I thank God for with the program that I'm going through, and also with the one for women empowerment. I'm also having a project with the women empowerment and youth, young girls. I managed to go to the last round, which is this one that I'm currently in.
Wow.
Yes.
All the best. And I would love for us to have all that information, more especially when it comes to voting, because honestly speaking, what you are doing, you deserve to win. Because that will just create more and more platform for you to serve and to reach out. Let's talk about tomorrow's project.
Yeah.
What is happening tomorrow?
Okay, tomorrow we have started this King's Young Men program at the beginning of the year, and we have committed ourselves to say that we need to empower the particular school for a certain period, then we'll go to another one. So tomorrow we have a session where we're going to be encouraging grade 8 to 9, possibly to 10, where we'll be talking about creating social justice for all. And initially, when we started this project, it was Heirs to the Throne, and emphasizing on who you are, how important you are, and how not only important you are to God, but also to your family and so forth. So we are continuing with the same program to empower boys, young boys. This is particularly that for young boys. And we have partnered with different stakeholders, like I mentioned earlier, to support this type of initiative. So we'll just be going there to empower them. It's just for 2-hour sessions, and just to make sure that to make a difference in that particular school. And I'm grateful that even with the previous session that we had, the principal was very impressed, was very encouraged, and said he's still looking forward for more programs to come, because they can see even a difference with the children. And that's what I'm saying. We're still engaged even more other stakeholders, because you will see other kids, they still need psychologists in that regard. So I think as time goes by, we'll be able to involve even people in that type of department, in terms of how can they counsel these young boys on one-on-one basis. Yeah.
That's beautiful. What I love again is how you reach out, to show that it is not just for points, but it's for impact.
Absolutely.
Because you have been early this year in this very same school, but you're going back to the very same school to make sure that there's some meaningful and tangible results at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And what I also love is the boys that you're addressing, the age that you're addressing.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. That's great. It's grade 8 and 9.
Yes.
And that's so wonderful. And let us talk about with the last 4 minutes that we have, or 3 minutes. Let's talk about if somebody watching today or listening would love to. I see Chow saying, "Proud of you, Poledi. We wish you all the best." Thank you so very much, Chow.
Thank you so much.
And who's this one? Priscilla Shluba Maingani. All the best, Mrs. Universe Africa.
Thank
you so
you.
very much. And then Katekani Lekalela, this Dr. Katekan saying, congratulations and may God's grace and favor be with you until you walk
Thank you so much.
Stage. Crown can sit well on your head. And then, she's imagining the crown already. That's beautiful. Yeah. That's beautiful. And then Pastor Jelin say, very powerful, impacting lives. Thank you so very much. And then Dr. Katekan also saying, great work. You are so precious and intelligent. Beauty with purpose. Very true. And let's talk about if somebody watching and listening and they need to support the initiatives that you're embarking on, what can they do? How do they reach you? What are your socials? What are your socials where you would love them to be able to be in contact with you?
Okay. They can be able to contact me privately, even on Instagram page. My name is Poledi Matjutla. On Facebook, again, it's Poledi Matjutla. On Instagram, Poledi 1234. Okay. Yes, they can still be able to DM me and we'll take it from there. We talk on how they can be able to support me. And in terms of, for example, voting for the finals, you go to Web Ticket. I'll send all the details to you even later. Web Tickets, I'm contestants number 45. Okay. 45, basically, it was initially when we were so many. So now we are on the last round, like it's top 20, but the number is still the same.
Still the same,
yes. Contestants 45, Poledi Matjutla, you can vote for me. Yes, and that's basically that. If they want to contact me, we can take it from there. On Instagram, they can just DM me and we take it from there. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. Ladies and gentlemen, all my friends, viewers and listeners of Bold Moves Radio, that's our guest for tonight on The Conversation, Mrs. Universe Africa 2022 finalist, Poledi Matjutla. And please let us vote and let us support this great woman and let us believe in her projects and let us also be inspired to do something. And let's connect with her. I think she can mentor a lot of us when it comes to empowering a boy child. Just want to take this time and say thank you so very much for being with us. And I would love for my guests to say the message that you'd love to say to you all before we release it. What do you say to the viewers, the listeners, before we release you, my dear sister?
Okay, thank you so much. Listeners, and I really appreciate for your time that you availed your time to just come and just listen to Poledi Matjutla. But what I can say is it's important to know that you've got unlimited power within you. And God has given you the ability to do anything you want to be in life. So don't sit there in your comfort zone. Don't sit there in your corner thinking that it's over with you. It is not over. God has got a purpose for your life. And it's just a matter of you identifying exactly what is it that I can be able to do so that at least you've touched other people's life. You have made a difference. You have done that which God has proposed you to be. So let's go back to our secret place and check what abilities that God has given you, and you just go and unleash it. The sky is the limit. That's what they say. God has created this world for us. So this universe is for us. And he says in his word that he has come that we may have life and have life in abundance. And this is exactly the abundance that we're talking about. It's not about money only, but it's about abundance in terms of your purpose and unleash that purpose that God has given you.
Wow. Thank you so very much, my wonderful guest. Friends, that's true. Thank you. By the time we exit this life, we'll not be remembered by our complexion, our stature, and how much cars we had, or how much houses we owned. But we'll be remembered by how much we have impacted on other people's lives, so that by the time we exit, we don't just totally be forgotten.
Yeah.
But somebody somewhere will carry the impact that you have impacted with. That was the conversation on Bold Moves Radio with me, Pastor Strike. And I would love to say thank you so very much. And good night to you all. And I trust that we're going to meet on another conversation next week. But as for tomorrow, we're going to King's Young Men Empowerment and Enrichment Program with Mrs. Universe Africa 2022 finalist, Poledi Matjutla. I'm Strike Manganyi, and I'm saying a blessed night to you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
This is
Bold Moves Radio. Streaming 24/7. 24/7.
Africa. Africa. Africa.
Boldly breaking barriers and limitations.
Stand up,